Time to pit the AI against my brain. If you've been on YouTube lately looking at retro content, you kind of fail to notice there's some new channels out there on the retro scene just pumping out AI-generated content. Material quickly gathered together on OBS or even stolen from other places with an AI thumbnail, AI description, and sometimes even an AI voiceover over someone else's content. Classy. The thing about that kind of content is it floods out everyone else on YouTube. It disrespects the viewer because everything's wrong. These channel owners have no knowledge, no passion, and they just want to have a side hustle on YouTube to try and make a few quid and be a big name on the retro scene. So what I thought I'd do in response to this is show perhaps the brain is better than the AI by reviewing Amstrad CPC games for an hour and no notes, nothing. What this isn't is an A to Z of Amstrad CPC games, a list of the best Amstrad CPC games, or even my favourite Amstrad CPC games. It is simply a list of games I've been happy to pass time with over the years. Incidentally, there are going to be no games in this list that weren't released during the CPC's commercial life, and no CPC Plus GX4000 games. I just wanted to keep it original CPC games released between 1985 and, say, 1994. Anyway, let's go. Robocop, the not-so-initial hit movie, big on VHS, of course, and you can see the message on the loading screen there. A huge hit for Ocean, #1 for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
Serve the public trust. Protect the innocent.
And the speech you get on the 128K version. So you know Robocop, you walk along and you shoot things, and then every second level you have a kind of shootout thing. There's power-ups to collect. It's enormous fun. It reminds you of so many other Ocean games of this era. Dragon Ninja, for example. Okay, you don't have the karate kick moves. It's not spectacular, but everything it does well. The power-ups are just about right. The difficulty level is just about right. The graphics are attractive. I think it's a little bit easier on the Spectrum than the Amstrad CPC, but there's a reason this game sold so well. It's just solid. Yeah, there's not a lot of variety here, but again, everything's so competent and the music drives things along so well, you don't really notice that. Solomon's Key, a probe conversion of the Tecmo arcade game. Not a huge hit on the home systems, though Amstrad Computer User did have it on the cover of the magazine, quite a nice cover. Also a PC version of the game I was playing a little while ago. So it's an arcade puzzler. The clue is in the name Solomon's Key. You have to get the key to get out of each level. Your little magic wand will build building blocks that you can climb up and will also zap baddies. You can also throw bombs. So there we go, we get the key, and suddenly, there you go, the door's open, but we've got to get up there. Little plinky-plonk tune helps drive things along. An attractive graphics on the CPC, a little bit of flickering on some of the sprites, but there you go. Your little magic wand can also destroy blocks, but we've got to get it up the top. How do we do that? Or simply, we climb up like that. There's no time limit, although your bonus does drop and drop and drop, so you need to get a move on to get the best kind of score, and more enemies do come out of the door, so you do need to get a move on. And it is a puzzler. Unfortunately, when you lose all your lives, you're back at the beginning. It is a little bit of a memory test at times, and some of the levels, even level 3, can be quite unforgiving until you work out what you need to do, and what you need to do there is obviously block off the snake fireball thing to give you enough time to get up there. Forgiving, it is not, but it's curiously attractive and addictive, and a game I'm surprised didn't get more heat back in the day. Sorcery Plus, the enhanced version of the game Sorcery, only available on Amstrad disc. Had this for my birthday in 1986, what a huge deal to have this game. It was a big noise on the CPC scene at the time. And you are a apprentice wizard, and you have, or sorcerer, rather, because it's called sorcery, and you have to rescue the other sorcerers. They've been imprisoned by the necromancer. And they've not been turned into monsters, as per the idiotic AI description on one of those AI channels I was talking about. Different objects do different things. The sword kills the lady down there. There's different power-ups available as well to kill things. So I've got the fleur-de-lis. Because the fleur-de-lis gets me through that door. Now that book there will release a sorcerer. And this is a horrible bit of thing there, because there's a little bit of jut out on that bottom bit. So you need to be careful not to go into water, because you go into the water, you will die. Sack of... No, that was the shooting star, sorry, not the sack of spells. Does the same thing, though. Kills everything on the screen, providing it hits them. And we can release a sorcerer. There we go. Now, back in the day, I could remember how to get about 4 or 5 of these sorcerers out. Different, as I say, different objects do different things. Some of them will trick you, and you can get trapped. There's also places to recharge your energy. And each screen is loaded off floppy disk, so you hear the disk access, which adds a little kind of extra bit to the door effects, especially if you're using the CPC's internal speaker. Well, now, what does the parchment do? Will that release a wizard? Oh, don't go on that one, because some of the cauldrons will actually deduct energy, not give it to you. But all the graphics are animated so well. Remember, this is 1985 this game came out. And it actually has a demo mode, so Amstrad dealers could leave this running in the shops. Because this was, wow. You haven't seen graphics like this, animation like this. It's not perfect, it flickers at times. The sprites soar as they cross over each other for speed, presumably. And don't do this, because now I'm trapped and I will die. There's no way out, because Sorcery Plus is a little bit unforgiving at times. That said, oh my goodness, I had so much fun with it back in the day, and I just wish I had the patience to stick with it more in 2025. It's lovely. Don't you open that trapdoor. You're a fool if you dare. Yes, I got this on an alternative budget release with Through the Trapdoor, which is Trapdoor 2. And you play Burke, which you obviously, if I could mutter like Willie Rushton, I would be at this point. And you have to serve your master upstairs, who wants... Get me a can of worms. So we're going to have to get a can and get some worms. Don Priestley game, of course. Graphics are slightly crude, but huge and, well, not well animated, but full of character. And it works so much better than games like, say, Popeye, which was one of his earlier works, or I quite enjoy Benny Hill's Madcap Chase, but there's only about 3 screens. So, right, you can drop objects and tip things and pick things up. So we're going to pick up not that, I want that, which I think is a can. It looks like a can. The difficulty is trying to work out what everything is, because they're not that well defined. But I think I've got a can. And now I'm going to need to put some worms in it. And of course, how do you get worms? You open the trapdoor. You've watched Trapdoor. Of course you have. Grobbits, ba 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 ba, Willie Rushton noises, ba 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 ba. Right, down here we go. It feels slow-paced because of the animation, but it's so much fun. I'd say the only problem is just working out what each bit does. I didn't enjoy Through the Trapdoor. I love the little bits of animation that Burke does when he drops things. Right, let's open. Hey! I've got the little frog thing. Well, we've got some worms. Yeah, the little frog thing, whose name I forget. He eats the worms. So he's an irritant. So you need to get rid of him by throwing him up in the air and down into the trapdoor. Right, we've got a worm. We have a wiggly worm. The meter on the right shows you how annoyed your master upstairs is. Get the other worm. Is 2 worms enough? Tip the worm into the can and put it into the dumbwaiter, and let's see what happens. Flunky came after this, slightly appropriate given the latest news about the House of York, or the ex-House of York. Oh, all right, what's he saying? Okay, but I wanted more worms. Well, we can't have everything we want, can we? The game also has 2 difficulty settings. Sadly, it uses the Amstrad CPC system font for the score and other bits, which looks a bit shabby, but never mind. Enormous fun. Paperboy, a hugely anticipated release for the CPC, and one that Elite managed to release without any sound at all, which is a shame because look at this. You can't get arcade perfect graphics on 8-bit. Watch out, there's Arthur Brownlow. You can't get arcade perfect graphics on an 8-bit, but, I mean, look at it. It's colourful, it's fairly smooth, the screen's a little bit small, but I wasn't complaining when I got this on budget re-release. The only thing I was complaining about was the lack of sound, not even a beep. Elite said they had no memory left, but I failed to see how even a few beeps wouldn't have been possible. Perhaps you don't have enough memory left for a tune, fair enough, but it just seems so... It's such a good game, and it's such a good port, that it just seems so wrong. It's all here, the assault course, the BMX course, and everything, and it's great fun. Which I'm never very good at this bit. Whoa, yeah. Grobbits. And what's more, it plays better than the C64 and Spectrum versions, let alone things like the C16 and the BBC Micro versions. No, I really like it. It's just such a shame it has no sound, and if someone can only update it and add a soundtrack, that would be great. Virgin Atlantic Challenge, a game I only played recently, but I found quite fun. You are Richard Branson, who is cosplaying as Eddie Jordan, and you have to sail your giant boat solo, no one else on board, unlike real life. It's just Richard Branson on his own across the Atlantic. It's surprisingly fun for a game where not a lot happens. You have to avoid fishing boats, you have to make business deals, you have to run around. It's so full of character. It's nuts. You're not going to play this for a massive amount of time. But there's a few different aspects, fuel, engine and so on, to manage, where you liaise with the fuel ship because you need to refuel halfway across the Atlantic. Yeah, there's not much in terms of action when you're up here on the bridge. But, yeah, just Eddie Jordan scurrying around. Oh, just give it a go, because it's one of those games that just puts a smile on your face. Kwik Snax, a game I knew nothing about when I bought it, just other than it was dizzy, and the key Borad controls put you in mind of Time Lash. So, what is it? It's an arcade game. It's a dizzy arcade game, but it's better than all of the other dizzy arcade games. You collect the fruit, you avoid the monsters. It's based on, I forget the name, I've got no notes. It's based on an arcade game, isn't it? Beginning with P? Anyway, all you need to know, graphics are really nice. I'm not quite sure why Dizzy is yellow, but never mind. Perhaps he's, anyway, gone something rotten? I don't know. But anyway, it's really good. You can use the block to crush the baddies and have lots of fun. It's a cracking game. Bonus levels every other level, where you basically can only travel in one direction and until you stop. So you need to think about how you do it all. So if I go right there, hit the ice block, go down, go left, and then go up, I will have all the bananas. It's such a charming game that when I got my Amiga, I bought it again on budget because, well, obviously it was on budget, because I enjoyed it so much and I played it all again. And it has a nice ramp up of difficulty. You will be able to complete it. I'm a rubbish games player, as people always point out to me, but I completed Kwik Snax many, many times. And it's a game I give to any young relatives coming to the house with the CPC out saying, play this. And they universally just keep on playing it. Not because I make them, I don't, because it's really good. Actually, last time I had it, we actually loaded it from tape as well. It still stands up genuinely as a good game. And it's not the biggest challenge in the world, but it's another game that, yeah, it's fun, it does everything really well. And just for a budget price, that is absolutely nuts. And obviously the C64 version is completely wrong, because it's not Kwik Snax, it's something else. But never mind, we're not looking at C64 games, we're looking at CPC games. Gryzor, a game I didn't own back in the day. My mate had it and was always going on about it. Of course, it is Contra, and I've never been very good at it. It's by Imagine, ported by Imagine at a time when Ocean were putting all their arcade conversions through Imagine. You can play it with music or without music. I've always found it quite hard, and the graphics a little bit muddled, but they actually do look better on a standard CPC monitor than they do here for some bizarre reason. It's a run and gun game, but with a difference. Because whereas with traditional run and gun games, you run left to right, with Gryzor, you go inside and have to shoot at the screen as people run around, and you have to destroy the little, I don't know, blob things. Anyway, you end up shooting towards you, so it gives you a little bit of variety. I find it incredibly difficult. It is not necessarily my style of game that I would sit down and play for a long time, but I can admire it as being something different. You even have jumping upwards levels, which is something I really, really like in games where you go upwards. Again, I just think the graphics might be a little bit muddled, but it's enjoyable, and it's just that variability of then doing this, then completing this level, then going to a side-scrolling level, then shooting towards yourself. It's just different, and that's what makes it stand out. Mikie, another Imagine game that I got on the Konami Coin Up Hits compilation. Graphics are a little bit crude. There's no music, unlike the arcade and the C64. And I've always thought it odd that he pushes his bum towards people to make them move, but you have to collect all the hearts to get the messages to meet up with your girlfriend somewhere in the school. You think you won't like it, and then he's kind of coming back going, oh, I've got a little bit further this time. I'll just give it another go. And yeah, it can feel a little bit unfair when the maddies all gang up on you and home in on you. And it was exciting the first time we got out into the corridor, me and my mate Duncan playing it. And, oh, where do we go? And it does slow down, but you'd probably rather be playing on the C64. But this isn't a C64 video, this is an Amstrad video. And yeah, it's actually quite fun, especially on that compilation where you got a load of other Konami games. I mean, what do his legs look like when he's walking, though? He's quite bow-legged, isn't he? Solid arcade fun. That's just a little bit different on your Amstrad. Ranarama, oh, a game I got on another compilation, Houston. And yeah, it's like Gauntlet, but with spells and things. And oh, look, the graphics aren't that attractive, but it's all done in mode 1, 4-colour mode on the CPC. And it might look better on the C64, but actually I ploughed hours and hours into this game. Absolute hours. And it's a slow burner. It's a slow burner because it can feel harsh, and it does slow down a lot as well when there's a lot on screen, and you have to find your way around. But once you meet the sorcerers and you start getting your runes and powering up with spells, the game starts to lift. I'm playing this with a cheat where my life force in the rune bit there doesn't expire. But in actual fact, all you've got to do is rearrange the words into Ranarama, and it's fairly easy unless you're very low on energy, because the countdown depends on how much energy you have. But actually, and while the colour scheme looks a bit crude on some of the levels, it looks nicer. It just depends on the levels you're on. And actually, you start to forget about that when you realise how big these dungeons are and all the different levels you're going to be exploring. Again, I just put so much time into this game, and I can't explain. Looking at this, you'll be thinking it's just dull, and it's not. Basically, it's Gauntlet for people with brains. Spin Dizzy by Paul Shirley. Later ported to all sorts of different systems, but it started off on the Amstrad. An isometric game, oh so infuriating and difficult, and something that perhaps would be better played with a mouse, but so highly regarded. Was given away with one of the first Amstrad Action regular cover tapes. And with good reason. It's a game that would have got people buying the magazine because the game was held in such high regard. Looks a little bit dated by the standards of later isometric games, of course inspired by games like Marble Madness, but it's more cerebral than that, perhaps a little bit more fiddly as well. It's a shame it has a timer that counts down. It really doesn't need a time. You really don't want to be hurried playing this game. You want to be able to take your time, but you can't. And yes, the time will go up when you collect the crystals, but it is kind of, you just need to get a move on. You can flip the screen around to look at different angles, if that helps you, which quite frankly often it doesn't. Everything is pretty much fatal. It is difficult. Is it a solid gold classic by overall CPC standards? I'm not putting it up there as one of the top isometric games, certainly, but if you can put up with the slight fiddliness of it, and if you like Marble Madness and games like that, you're absolutely going to love this. If, like me, they stress you out a little bit, then it's a game that's nice to visit occasionally, but you just a little bit too stressful. Tomahawk. Oh, Tomahawk. What a wonderful, superb helicopter flight simulator from Digital Integration. Oh, you might look at this and say, it's slow. Oh, look, we just strafed a tank and just escaped it by the skin of our teeth. And of course, that tank is moving and is actually engaged in a battle with your own forces, believe it or not. It's not static. No, it's firing on something else. And it's moving around trying to take your territory, as is this gun here. This game is so much fun, and the Amstrad version is the best version. Every other version pales in comparison. Spectrum version's faster. Doesn't have the colour. You can't see who are your troops and who the enemy troops are. But here on the CPC, you've got all the colour in the world in mode 0 to see what you're aiming at. And the flight model is really fun, and there's the enemy helicopter flying around trying to get you, but no, we got him. Just so enjoyable. And a game, again, I started playing this and I was just flying around for ages. I've done a Rambo 3. I'm just flying around for ages playing it because it's so much fun. The Game of Dragons by Amsoft, the second of Amsoft games in this list today. And it's a little bit different, this game. I've viewed it on ChinnyVision before, indeed, as I have for a lot of these games. It's a bit like, Chucky Egg, but not. You collect crystals, but that's not what you need to do, because what you need to do is kill all the dragons on the screen by dropping the dragons' eggs on them. And look how lovely these graphics are for such an early Amstrad CPC game, and a game I don't think came out on any other system. It is quite hard, but we've squashed that dragon there, so we just need to squash those dragons there. Each of the dragons, when they change colour, has a different kind of skill and the way it attacks you. Some of them will only attack you if you're above them, some of them will only attack you if you're below them. But this is level 1, so it should be quite easy. So I should be able to push that egg onto the dragons there and kill all of them. And they don't change colour until they leave their ledges. The manual explains which colour does what. Frankly, when you come to be playing it, you don't. I think the yellow ones just, you don't really have time to start thinking about that. You've got to get away from them. But the yellow ones do home in on you. And I'm trapped there. Bombjack 2, or Thundercats as it might have been. A great conversion that I got on the Encore label on the CPC. Played this for hours and hours. Bombjack aficionados will point out it's not Bombjack. Of course it's not Bombjack. To be frank, it's not Thundercats either, is it? But it's graphically attractive, has got nice sound, has a real arcade feel about it. And graphics like this look so great on your CTM 644 with the gradient in the background. And you've got to have a strategy. And you've got to be fast as well, because the enemies will turn into more difficult enemies if you aren't quick enough. You can collect the treasure in order, but you won't always want to do that because of the amount of time it takes, and then you end up with these baddies there who can push you off the platforms very, very easily. Enormous fun, and for just $2.99 that I got this for. Starglider from Rainbird. Of course, a fantastic CPC game. Yes, Spectrum 128K version, and it's going to be faster. But, I mean, look at this. It's gorgeous vector graphics and the speed of it. And again, it's a bit like Tomahawk with your kind of troops fighting the enemy troops. It's a virtual 3D world in your 8-bit computer in a wonderful Rainbird box. You can just roam around freely shooting things as you want or actually play it properly. It's just great fun. But such a fun game. And you've got the guided missiles. And on the CPC, of course, you've got colour again, so you can see what all the enemies are. Unlike the Spectrum version where everything is one colour. Yes, 16-bit versions, obviously, especially the ST, but we're not doing an ST list, are we? We're doing a CPC list. And therefore, Starglider is, for me, a game that I just really enjoy. And whenever I play it again, I just sit here kind of with a smile on my face, zooming around space, shooting those giant space birds. As we're approximately halfway through the list, I should just remind you that ChinnyVision has other outlets. It has ChinnyVision 2, which has extra content on it, the ChinnyVision podcast, and if you want to support this channel, help it fight against AI channels and keep this ad-free as it has been for the past 11 years, then there is the ChinnyVision Ko-Fi, and I'm very grateful to people who support the channel on there. Loads of bonus content on there as well. Wing Commander video on the Amiga, for example, and some stuff where you look around my games collection and so on. So that's ChinnyVision on Ko-Fi, and thank you to everyone who supports. Games written by school children on the CPC are not that uncommon, but perhaps not games named after themselves. Tubaruba by Tuba Zabi. And this game is nuts. It's a kid with a jetpack in his school who has to collect money. That's it. It is really fast moving, really completely nuts. If you've got an Amstrad SSA1 speed synthesizer, it will shout things at you as well. It's just bananas. And it's not a game you're going to play for a particular... Oh, yes, that's a Lagonda. Graphically, it's both crude and lovely in terms of the superb explosions when you hit the enemies. It's just a game, so much of its time, that just couldn't happen now. And it just feels so like a school child's fantasy of what they could do in their school. I fly around with a jetpack and just shoot everything. And it's fun, if difficult. Excel, the game where at the start of each level you have to add all sorts of power-ups to your craft. And yeah, okay, the CPC version isn't the best of them, but it's still enormously good fun and has all these giant baddies to shoot. Elevator Action, and the best version of Elevator Action here on the CPC. The C64 version is horribly bugged, the Spectrum version is particularly good. I think the MSX version was quite good actually. But anyway, you know Elevator Action. Use elevators and stairs actually to go around the building and escape with the plans and get out at the bottom. It has a cracking soundtrack, and things could be smoother and faster. And yeah, this was a full price game, bizarrely. Plays a bit more like a budget game, or a good budget game. But never mind, it's great fun, it's a great concept, and really enjoyable. Also full of character. I mean, yes, the graphics are crude, but there's certainly something going on here, isn't there? And eventually you get to the bottom level and you escape with the plans. Space Harrier in vectors on an 8-bit. Well, that's exactly what Space Harrier on the CPC is. Clearly, a CPC isn't going to throw graphics around like the arcade with its dual 68000s. And certainly, look at the mess of the C64 version. So the code of the CPC version went, keep the speed up, why don't we do this in vectors and just kind of do an approximation of Space Harrier that keeps the atmosphere. And yes, this looks crude, but my goodness, it plays well. You can't shoot the scenery, sadly, which makes the game a little bit harder, but it's kind of all here in that, as a child, I was quite happy with this at home after some initial disappointment of just how it looked because of the gameplay. And the cracking theme tune as well, which is what I think detracts in the Spectrum version. There's no 128K version there that has the Space Harrier music. But here on the CPC, it kind of looks like Space Harrier. It definitely sounds like Space Harrier. And yeah, I mean, not all the enemies are here, and it's crude, but it's fun, and it's interesting to see the decisions taken here in order to get this game onto the CPC in a satisfactory manner. Dan Dare 2, programmed by the Gang of Five, who also did Sorcery Plus. And yeah, I mean, nice graphics and animation you can already see here with the Mikie and Dan Dare. You have to battle the Mikie, you've got this kind of hover bike thing, and you have to go around the base shooting the super trees the Mikie is basically developing. Or you can be the Mikie and drive around the base doing the same thing, except releasing your super trees. There's a kind of weird inertia on your craft, which is annoying, but it's part of you, I guess, being on a floating hover bike. The graphics are exactly as you'd expect from a Gang of Five game, i.e. superb and well animated. There's a super tree, we just need to shoot him. The time limit on the game is incredibly tight. Incredibly tight. Also pretty good on the C64, but for my money, the CPC version. WEC Le Mans, WEC Le Mans, people call it both, but I think WEC's the official one. Yes, you think, oh no, it's a Speccy port. In fact, if you've seen the Spectrum version looks nothing like this. Yes, the colour scheme is ugly. I don't know why they've done it with these colours, but as soon as you start to play it, you forget about that because it's a cracking game. It's an absolutely cracking game. It's just really good, and people got put off it by the unattractive graphics. Of course, Burning Rubber was developed by the same coders for the GX4000, and you can see the genesis of that here. Yeah, Burning Rubber has better graphics and everything you'd expect, but the main car sprite looks very similar, has a shadow. You will see enemy cars or opponent cars crashing into each other and kind of ending up at the side of the track, and there's an animation when you crash. It's really good, and I picked this up on budget and was thinking, yeah, this is a decent racing game, and one that still offers a significant challenge today. Head over heels, we talked about isometric games, and here's the daddy, the best one. Batman came out previously from the same coders, and that's not as good. Perhaps a little bit too difficult. It's full of character. There's just something with Batman that doesn't quite pull you in the way Head Over Heels did. Both of these games I got on budget on Hit Squad. And Batman first, obviously, because that came out first. And yeah, it's Head Over Heels, really, that just has something about it that makes it the absolute peak. This wasn't bettered. Still hasn't been. Oh, Lumo? But yeah, I think Lumo is clearly inspired by Head Over Heels. And here on the CPC, we have the definitive version, in my opinion. Spectrum version is the original, but the CPC version has additional things. And it does slow down when there's a lot going on, like here. And I do like how the puzzles are all logical, and you can tackle them in your own time. There's no timers. I hate Alienate and Nightlaw for the fact there's the timers. And Hydrofall as well, actually. I like Hydrofall. I hate the fact you're constantly having to... Your oxygen is running, or your ruster meter and oxygen are running down. Whereas here, you can just take your time, you can stand there, think about, right, which of these is going to suddenly explode like that. I thought it was going to be the first one. But no, it's that one. Jump back. Yeah, it can be. It's consistent in what it does. It's just the first time you play it, you think it can be a little bit unfair. You meet, obviously, got the two characters, Head and Heels. Head can, basically, he's quite slow, but he can jump. Heels, it's quite fast, but can't jump. And you have to meet them up in the marketplace, join them up, and then the first thing you do, there's Heels, and the first thing you do is end up splitting them again. And then you use them separately, like here, to complete the puzzles. You send Heads across first, and then Heels. Enormously stylish, enormously fun game. If you haven't played Head Over Heels on the CPC, why not? Why not? Pacmania, not the best version. That's probably the Archimedes. But, yeah, it's not as fast as the Spectrum version. You can play it on the Spectrum 128. But this is still a game that puts a smile on my face. And I enjoy, even if it is a bit too slow on the CPC. But it's the Pac-Man game to have. It really is. And it's got a great soundtrack. And the enemy ghosts have so much more character in this kind of 3D world. You can see what they're doing. And it's really, really cool. And I only got this for $4.99 from W.H. Smith's in Boscombe. A special promotional version. I presume Grandstand needed to sell a few copies. And basically there's 3 levels. You've got Pac-Man, got this level, which you have to play a few times. Then you've got the jungly steps, which is actually quite difficult. But again, it's a game I kept coming back to because I could get a little bit further every time. Kane, my cousin, had this, and everyone's going to say, C64 version. Clearly, it's just 4 mini games linked together. But 4 mini games that work really well. Shoot the birds. Depending on how many birds you shoot, the more lives you get. You then ride into Kane on your horse. Then you shoot all the bad guys. Then you have to stop the train. But the thing is, each of the little sub-games are really fun. Especially the shoot the birdies. And this is the one I enjoyed as a kid. Now I find it a little bit short and dull. Just riding into Kane on your horse. Then you go into the village or the town and you shoot the bad guys. There are different difficulty levels, so if you're thinking this is looking very easy, clearly I'm on the easiest one. You just have to shoot them before they shoot you. And then this is a tricky level because it's a memory test, because you do have to slow down your horse at certain points in order to make the jumps, because there's some jumps that you get. That's the one. You wouldn't know, you can't complete that one at full speed, you need to slow down. And the first time you just pile into the whatever it is. You stop the train, and then you do it all again. But it's a budget $1.99 game from Mastertronic, so how much do you want for your money? It's really good. Another budget game, Fly Spy.
Welcome to Fly Spy.
By Richard Aplin, a name you will all know. And someone else who liked his graphical effects on the CPC. See a little helicopter there, assembles itself. It's a busy game in terms of what's going on. It's collect the objects and go to the levels and find your way through it. It's complex. There's a lot of teleporting. But it used the CPC nicely with the push scroll and the graphics. It's not a game that came out on any other system. It is initially confusing. But there are tips on the screen, like don't waste the laser. And you have to activate the switches to make things happen, to get through places. And you can lose energy very easily. And if you notice there, you've got lots of hardware tricks going on here, because you've got the medium resolution at the top, which, to be fair, has to blank when the screen scrolls. But it's all very... so we go to teleport to another station, and to get to the next level, you have to play Centipede and complete it. It's a really good Centipede clone, and just embedded away here in this budget game. It's like, this could be on a compilation of kind of old school arcade games and be really good. That's righty, certainly. No soundtrack, but I doubt he's probably any memory left given how many different graphics he's got in here. It's one of those games that's forgotten about probably because it only came out on the CPC, probably because it's a little bit dense in terms of what you have to do. But, again, some kid programmed this, or Richard Haplin programmed this, who went on to great things, and you can see why. They don't make games like this anymore. There's probably reasons for that, but also, it's a shame. Crazy Cars 2 is a game I bought at full price. Again, I think from W.H. Smith's in Boscombe, and I can never get it to load. And it's not, of all the games on here, the best game in the world. What it is a game you can just drive around for a bit, going from place to place, and just enjoy trying to find your way around the map and actually have a sense of it is a complete world, even if it's a little bit empty. Now, frankly, it doesn't play any different on a Flash 16-bit machine, but it's just nice seeing the CPC doing some good graphics and everything hanging together well. I've always had a soft spot for Yie Ar Kung Fu ever since I used to borrow it from my mate, and I think it's still one of the best beat-em-ups on the CPC. Other users, especially C64 users, will say it's too slow on the CPC. I disagree. I think the C64 version is far too fast. It is great fun, and the animation isn't particularly fantastic, but graphically it looks close to the arcade and it just plays really well. And each of the enemies has its own skill and special move, which is common for fighting games, but on this one it just seems to hang together well. If you want to play a two-player fighting game, obviously you play Where the Exploding Fist, or you go to the C64 and play IK Plus, clearly. And this is no IK Plus. What is? But again, I could sink a lot of time into this game, and I have again just playing it now. Awoo! Werewolves of London, a full-price game that quickly made its way to budget because Harrier Soft went bust. Oh, it's glorious. You wander around London by night murdering people, in the day you walk around, no one recognising you. And it's so much fun to a 10-year-old playing this game. Oh, we had fun. We had so much fun. Even later when my mates got STs, we still played this because they had nothing like this. They didn't have Werewolves of London. Oh no, not a game where you can free roam around London ripping people to bits and exploring and the whole atmosphere of it, and going down into the tube and progressing a little bit each time, getting more of those crosses, and how the nights become longer and the days shorter, and trying to avoid the jailer like those got the key, finding how to explore the sewers, finding out how to explore the railway tunnels and all these other bits. You'd think you'd seen all the game and suddenly, oh, hang on, there's something down here in the tunnels. Oh, just utterly amazing. Yes, the inventory system is a little bit fiddly, having to use the cursor keys, and yet it does slow down chronically when there's a lot on the screen on the CPC version. C64 version looks similar, but as Warren Pilkington recently pointed out on the Mastertronic archive, the problem with the C64 version is the police are just incredibly, and probably fairly, aggressive, so you spend your entire life locked up. Play the CPC version, or you'll regret it. Turbo Esprit, probably better on the Spectrum, but I first had it on the CPC on a French compilation I bought in Paris, and just driving around the city free roaming. Again, like Werewolves of London, there's a theme here. There weren't that many games where you could free roam, so you just drove around running over people and just turning the wrong way around junctions and shooting people because it was fun. Yes, it's a little bit jerky on the CPC and it's harder to turn the corners, but I've got that right. I have got that right. But it's a whole little world with traffic lights and people walking down the pavement and junctions that you can jam up and pavements you can crash into. You can even reenact being in the supermarket car park with OAPs where you can end up reversing around junctions, trying to do a three-point turn badly and just blocking up the traffic. It is glorious. Play the CPC version for the colour, but you should probably play the Spectrum version for the speed. When we talk about CPC racing games, of course we mention Chase HQ. On the Spectrum, it is glorious and fast and wonderful, and it is on the CPC as well. Just a little bit slower, but of course it still has the speech as long as you've got 128k, but it's colourful, it's well defined, it's fun. It's just so much fun and really well implemented. And back in the day, all the versions apart from the C64 got very high scores in the magazine, the multi-format magazines. And you know what? Those ST and Amiga versions don't hold up anymore. They're just not any good. The Amstrad and Spectrum versions really do. And it is just a joyous, joyous conversion of the game, even if it's not 100% accurate. But a lot of these conversions, they don't need to be 100% accurate. They just need to play really, really well. And this does. It's like a Game & Watch game. But you know what? Harrier Attack, I'm playing it here on the easiest level, playing it on the harder levels, is still a bit of a challenge. Graphics are so basic. Vioric has a better version. This is the first computer game I ever played, and boy, it left a huge impression on me. And it's still really fun just going over the city and just bombing the hell out of it, or accidentally blowing up your carrier when you take off, and then realising it's not there at the end once you've done the mission. Oh yes, it's, as I say, it's basic and probably written in basic. The sound's awful. Was it the first CPC game delivered? I think it might have been. I think it was one of the first CPC games delivered. But yeah, oh my, the memories, and above all, it's still fun. Zub, a game I first played on my cousin's CPC 464 with green screen monitor. And in fact, when she sold that, she gave me her copy. Wow, it was a game I found quite hard at first because, especially here on the CPC version, you will notice something about this you'll see in a minute. And by the way, top tip for the game, first thing to do is turn the status display over to the radar scanner, because although the giant Zub looks pretty, you can't see where the enemies are. But look here on the CPC, the platforms are much narrower than the Spectrum, making the game a bit harder. Easier to fall to the ground. Don't know why that is, but of course I didn't know any different until I got a copy of the Spectrum version on Pirate with a 48k plus I owned. But what a superb game from the Pickford brothers. Again, well into the ST and Amiga era, my friends would want to play Zub, and it's such a great game. So you know the deal. Well, yeah, I've already jumped to the top of level 1 there, and the different things at the top of each level take you to different places, something I didn't know back in the day. But there are 3 teleporters and they go in different directions. I still don't know which one does what. Anyway, I think you might have to look at the map, I'm not sure. Anyway, nice little tip, you can, if you kneel down when you're on the ground, you don't have to do all this bobbing up and down. But the game is so full of character. And yes, the CPC version has cut down animation from the Spectrum version and less baddies, but it is every bit as good, and of course it's nice and colourful. A little bit garish at times, but it gives you a difference between every level. The only thing I will say about the game is it doesn't really ramp up in difficulty other than the difficulty setting. It's just a question of getting through all the levels. Continental Circus, it was going to be this or Power Drift, and I thought, well, today I'd probably rather play Continental Circus on the CPC. It's a racing game with a little bit more depth. Yes, all the opponent cars look exactly the same as yours, and the tracks are very samey, and strangely garish at times with that purple background. I assume they've picked the colours for some optimisation reason. And you do get things like weather, which is quite unique, I think. And pit stops where you get this little animation. Although you don't really need a pit stop at this stage of the game, but I'm just showing it there for effect. It's really good, and what you have to do within a time limit, or you have to complete the course within the time limit and get a ranking above what you're told to qualify at before you go on to the next stage. So it's a little bit different in terms of, it's not, say, come first in the race, it is just qualify better than this position out of 100. Ping Pong on the same compilation my mate had as Yie Ar Kung Fu, and also Green Beret and, another game as well, probably Hypersports. What a superb, wonderful game. CPC version is the best of the UK 8-bits, with a nice ramping of the difficulty level. I've started off on level 3 here, and I've already scored a point. Always wondered what the pink things were. They are, of course, your hand holding a bat. It looks like the one in the other side of the table is just kind of a face with a big hat on it. But it doesn't really matter. Of course, you may well, like me, have the MSX version on cartridge. And yes, that is the definitive home version. But you wouldn't have had access to that back in the day. Goodness me, in today's money, that would have cost about £80–90, I guess. And it's not that much significantly better. It's good, but I might look at that game on ChinnyVision too, actually. But no, this is enormous fun, the game I put a lot of time into. And I've just kind of batting the ball back and forth and just remembering those little techniques that you need to do. It's all about timing. It looks deceptively simple, but actually it's about hitting the ball at the right time, at the right angle, at the right kind of bounce and height, and learning how to do those, I don't know what they're called, those high shots that go, which can help fool the opponents. And level 5, yeah, it's nearly impossible. But it's really fast, but you will get good enough to play this. Supercars, a game I first played on my mate's Atari ST. And I was so pleased it came out on the 8-bits, and of course had it for my birthday, without, I think, even looking for a review. It's a top-down super sprint style game where you can upgrade your car, buy new cars, you win money. And yes, today you will probably prefer to play Supercars 2 on the Amiga, but you don't get Supercars 2 on the 8-bits, and this is probably the best top-down racer on the CPC. Niggles, well, it's a little bit garish. I'm not quite sure why there is quite so much green. It just, yeah, it's an odd one, isn't it, really? Probably because the green's grass, so the cars need to be green as well. Then you get that little extra bit of colour on top of your car to tear yourself apart from the other cars. And the game does annoyingly cut 2 channels of the audio when you go around corners, which the ST doesn't. And it's the same sound chip, so I don't know why both the Spectrum and the CPC versions do that. Perhaps it's something to do with DMA. I don't know. But you win a race, and you win cash, because you you damage your engine, bodywork, fuel and tyres as you race around. So again, you need to upgrade those. But if you get on to one of the more advanced levels, and there's 3 different stages of the game, you have to do a lot more laps, and it's much more of a challenge. The game is deceptively easy when you start off. You do have to watch your tyres, your fuel and your body, because here we are on one of the hardest settings here we're on track 9 of level 3, and you really only just have enough fuel to complete the laps. And I've skidded too much and my tyres have exploded 1 lap short of the end, despite starting off with fresh tyres. So yes, the game may seem deceptively simple, but there is a significant challenge in here, managing stuff like that. Operation Gunship, a game I got on one of the Quattro compilations, and one of the lesser known Oliver Twins games, only came out on the Amstrad CPC and the Spectrum. The Spectrum version is rather monochromatic and you can't really see what you're doing. But the Amstrad version is colourful joy, if a little bit blocky. Lots of lovely explosions. This game was re-released as something else on the ST and Amiga, and possibly the NES. Firehawk? I think it was that, yes, but it's not Operation Gunship, it's just the same kind of concept. But it's enormous fun. What you do is you have to rescue the prisoners. It's a top-down choplifter. And the prisoners are hidden within buildings. You bomb the buildings, and then they'll be waving at you. There's a man with big arms we need to rescue by hovering our helicopter over him. And yes, it's a little bit jerky, but there weren't many other games like this on the Amstrad, so it was good to explore around the map, shoot things, the large explosions. And amazingly, no C64 version. And as I say, it really is one of the forgotten Oliver Twins games. And look at that explosion there. And you can only take 1 prisoner at a time, so it says return prisoners. But then you take it back to base, and then they exit your helicopter. It's all good budget fun. Glider Rider came in one of the early regular Amstrad Action cover tapes. A binary design game. And of course the Pickford brothers behind the code and the graphics respectively. And I've reviewed this on ChinnyVision not too long ago, like most of these games. And when you ride along the ground, the enemy defences ignore you. But then you can take off using your motorbike that turns into a glider by going down a hill, and then you can bomb the installation. Although then the enemy defences want to zap you. Did we get that? Yeah, we got that. You see, you got to bomb those. And then when you got all of those, you can get inside the central area, which is heavily defended. A great soundtrack to help things move along, and lots of fun just exploring the map as you zoom around on your motorbike. Could there be a bit more colour on the map? Yeah, it would be nice actually, because how many colours we got on the go here? 3? Well, no, 4 once you get to the edge there. But it's rather nice and unusual, and that kind of strange I've been frazzled. Isometric thing that the 8-bits did so well, at least the Z81s. Prehistoric 2, a game I never owned, and I don't know anyone who did. It was advertised in the UK, but apparently very, very hard to get hold of. One of the last Amstrad CPC commercial releases. Why am I including it here? Well, it's just nice to see what the CPC can do when it's running exclusively from floppy disk without having to load stuff from cassette. And you've got a coder who knows all the hardware tricks. Now, ignore that jerky scrolling there, because if you've got an Amstrad CTM644 monitor or GT65, it will scroll perfectly fine. For some reason, the Retro team, and indeed any capture I've ever tried on Prehistoric 2, doesn't like whatever this game is doing in order to make smooth horizontal scrolling on the CPC work. And yeah, there's hardware tricks going on all over the shop. And really, it's a 16-bit game crammed onto an 8-bit. There's no Spectrum version, there's no C64 version. I'm not sure, is there an ST version? I'm not sure. It scored really, really highly, but as I say, no one in the UK got to play it, which is an enormous shame. Yes, it slows down, but again, 16-bit quality game on your 8-bit. Just nice to see what the CPC can do. Total Recall. Well, I wanted one Ocean game in here to represent the kind of movie conversions, and I was thinking the Untouchables, and I thought, no, Total Recall is probably the one I spent more time with. And then I came to play it again, and I thought, yeah, probably should go on from the Untouchables. Arnie in this does not look like Arnie, because they would have had to pay extra for that. It is, however, a very polished and well put together game. There's a lot of running around and solving puzzles. That said, it is much easier than Batman, the movie, and much easier on the eyes, where, if I'm honest, I just couldn't remember how to get off level 1. And indeed, back in the day, it took me ages to get off level 1. And at one point, Amstrad Action gave away level 1 on the cover tape. And I thought, you know what, I might as well have just had the cover tape and not paid 10 quid for this. But eventually, no, I got into level 2, which is you've seen on ChinnyVision before. It's a driving level, side to side, very much like Batman. And then, yeah, it goes back to being this and alternating, because obviously you're going to Mars. Castle Master got some Software Plus in Aldershot. And on disc, the first Freescape game I ever had. I played the demos given away on cover tapes, but never actually owned a Freescape game. And this is the final one. This is the biggie, and in my opinion, the best. No, it's not as attractive as, say, Total Eclipse, because it's all murky and dark. But the engine's I think it's slightly faster than certainly Driller and Darkside were. And the idea you're wandering around a 3D world. And yes, I did play this quite a bit, although, again, it's challenging. It's a cerebral game. It's not... People today think games like this should be like Doom, and these weren't. These were exploration games played at a slower pace. And it's the swimming pool room, one from all the screenshots, and there's a ghost. It's quite difficult to spot the ghosts sometimes, but you need to shoot them because they suck your energy. And it's oh so impressive in the magazines. And just this idea, and yes, I know, again, it's slow, not as slow as it is on the C64. Of course, Freescape originating on the Amstrad CPC and being the lead systems for the first games. Anyway, I'm not sure by this stage. I think probably the 16 bits were the lead systems. But it's just so nice just to be able to explore a 3D world on your 8-bit computer. And on a CTM 644 monitor, all this shading works far better than it does on your 48-inch screen, with me capturing this in HD. And it evokes feelings of things like Nightmare, the TV series, which were big news at the time. And there's just the fact you can turn 360 degrees and there's food left out for you on tables, and then you get into the catacombs beneath the castle and just get generally lost in them. It is glorious. Yes, today, you know, you might say, well, I'd probably rather play that on a 16-bit, but that misses the point. The fact is you can do this on an 8-bit. It looks attractive and it plays at a reasonable, if not pacey, speed. So that's an hour of me looking at Amstrad CPC games. No notes, and I've probably missed out a whole load of facts and got a load of stuff wrong. But all these games put a smile on my face. And for many of these games, I've been playing them a lot more than I needed to. For the capture with Sub, I just got stuck there just playing it. With Castle Master, again, just exploring and having fun. And that's what's good about all of these games here. For one reason or another, they want me just to play them and play them and play them. No, 8-bit games aren't like modern games. They're not designed to be played for hours and hours and hours, but there is fun to be had here. So, you know, pick a few, go and play them for yourself, or sit down with your own favourite system and play games on that and just enjoy it. Because what all this is about is playing games and sharing them with other people. No big lists, not top 100s, not A to Zs, nothing like that. Here's some games, you might like some of them. And do check out some of the other channels of ChinnyVision size on YouTube, like Geigerpunk, like Yestazine, who are playing these games and doing stuff and showing them without horrible AI or just lazily slapping stuff on your screen for a quick buck. As ever, thank you so much for watching, and well done for getting through an hour of me playing Amstrad CPC games. And I'm off to play Down Dare 2, and I think that's going to be the next ChinnyVision. See you soon.